game of Sunday.
That was Carlo Ancelotti and Ralph Hasenhüttl speaking ahead of Southampton against Everton kick-off. Not too far away now. Everton, Paul, they've been a strange team in recent years because they've invested heavily in the transfer market, but it's only really this summer those signings have come to fruition. What is a realistic aim for Ancelotti this season as far as the Toffees are concerned?
Again, I have to say, in these strange times, I would say Ancelotti may have that little bit of belief, thinking he can get Everton into the Champions League. That's got to be his way of thinking. He's that manager. He's managed always, the teams he's managed have been in Champions League. He's won Champions League. He hasn't come to Everton just to accept that he's not going to be in the Champions League, and he might just at best be a Europa League manager. So in my opinion, that's where he'll be looking from. Everything says it about him as a player, as a manager. He wants to be playing in the best possible league. He wants to be playing in the best possible competitions as a manager. So I'm sure that's where he set himself, that bar of being, that's where I want to be in the Champions League as a manager again. So because then he'll know going into a new stadium there might be a little bit more money for him to maybe push on and go and add a little bit more to what Everton have achieved so far. And I know we've only gone through a few games, but I think you have to look at it and say, but if they can keep everyone fit to a point, because as big as their squad is, they haven't got that much quality outside of their best 11, then there's got to be a chance for them this season.
Yeah, they've taken 43 points from Ancelotti's 25 games in charge. To put that into context, only Liverpool and the two Manchester clubs have accumulated more during that period. We are just about set for kick-off. There's a rainbow overhead at St Mary's. Let's hope this game leads us to a pot of gold. It's Southampton against Everton. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new TalkSport swimming pool. Goff! No run there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive-time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, who hands up? Who wants me to stay?
Drive-time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksby and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksby and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
TalkSport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Southampton against Everton from St Mary's Stadium. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Manchester United, Fulham and England fullback Paul Parker. This is Premier League Live. And the last time Everton were champions of England, Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister, Madonna was top of the music charts, and the UK was about to be battered by the Great Storm. Well, the only storm blowing in the Premier League at this moment in time is emanating from Goodison Park. The Toffees have blown away all before them so far this term to soar to the top of the table thanks to their best start since Howard Kendall's men lifted the trophy way back in 1987. And with the so-called Big Six all floundering in these strangest of times, there's a growing belief around the Toffees that Ancelotti's side can once again challenge for the title. As for Southampton, October the 25th is a date that will forever send shivers down the spines of their supporters. It was on this day a year ago they were hammered 9-0 by Leicester. It's a mark of Ralph Hasenhüttl's man management that since then they have the 8th best record in the Premier League. And this afternoon they have the chance to banish some of those ghosts for good. The two sets of players are just about ready for kick-off. Just a reminder of the headline team news for those of you just tuning in. One change for Southampton from the side that played out that dramatic 3-3 draw at Chelsea last weekend. Stuart Armstrong returns after a period in isolation. Theo Walcott cannot play against his parent club, so drops out. 3 alterations at Everton from their 2-2 draw in the Merseyside derby. Seamus Coleman is injured, Richarlison suspended, while Gomez drops to the bench. In comes Ben Godfrey for his full debut for the club in the Premier League. Sigurdsson makes his 350th appearance. He's also recalled. So too is Alex Iwobi. We are just about ready for the first of 3 live commentaries here on Premier League Live this afternoon. Wolves against Newcastle and Arsenal against Leicester still to come as the two sets of players take a knee, as has become customary before every Premier League game. And it will be Everton who kick us off, shooting from left to right in this first half. Southampton in the red shirts with the white sash, black shorts and red and white socks, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. The 2 lineups in full. For Saints, McCarthy makes his 100th Premier League appearance in goal. It's a back 4 of Walker-Peters, Vestergaard, Bednarek and Bertrand. Armstrong, Ward-Prowse, Romeu and Redmond in midfield. Adams and Ings in attack. Everton have Pickford in goal. Godfrey, Mina, Keane and Digne in defence. Decore, Allan and Sigurdsson in midfield, with James Rodriguez and Iwobi either side of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who can't stop scoring up front. Paul Parker is surveying the action this afternoon. What type of game are you expecting, Paul?
I'm just hoping just for a really open game, to be honest, so we can all enjoy a really good game of football. Some of the games we've seen in this at this moment in time in the empty stadiums haven't really been that exciting. So really I'm just hoping an early goal is possible, so a team has to really come out, and then that will mean that the game will be quite open.
Here is Ryan Bertrand attacking down the left-hand side. He was tripped by Decore. Clumsy challenge, but Southampton have a free kick a yard in from the touchline. James Rodriguez looks distinctly unimpressed with the call from referee Kevin Friend.
I was a little bit unimpressed as well, Alex, the way that he went down, Bertrand. He'd done well to land how slow it was.
James Ward-Prowse wearing the captain's armband, making his 200th Saints start. He's due a testimony, I think, next season. He's going to take the free kick. The likes of Jan Bednarek summoned forward from the back. Shea Adams just trying to shield the sun from his eyes. Normally on point with these deliveries, Ward-Prowse, and it's headed behind by Michael Keane. It was a dangerous looping cross.
I'm quite surprised, looking how everyone's looking and looking at Jordan Pickford. I'm surprised he's not wearing a hat. I know you don't see keepers wearing them, but he looks like he's kind of really wincing there as that ball comes in. Didn't look comfortable at all.
I think he may have just signalled to the bench that maybe he needs a cap to protect his eyes from the low sun. We'll monitor that as Southampton line up for their first corner. And it will be Ward-Prowse again, the England midfielder, who's going to take the kick, right-footed from the left-hand side towards the far post. It was a strong header away from Michael Keane, who was just shoved as he leapt in the air by Yannick Vestergaard, the giant Denmark international, and it will be a free kick now inside Everton's own penalty area. 0-0 the score with 3 minutes played, and it's Yerry Mina who passes it inside the 18-yard box to Michael Keane. That was a distinct no-no when you were playing, Paul.
Yeah, Christ, everyone's hearts would have been going. There was under pressure. You see Southampton push 3 people up. You know you can't play out. It's going to be too tight. That's when you think to yourself, you drag those 3 out there. There must be space somewhere you can drop it into forward. I thought that was the idea of it, not to put yourself under even more pressure of trying to play through them.
We saw Bernd Leno, the Arsenal goalkeeper, give away a goal in their game against Rapid Vienna in the Europa League in midweek. Doing just that, but it has become the modern way. And the ball is back now with Jordan Pickford, who Fabian Barthez style is wearing a short sleeve goalkeeping jersey this afternoon. Neat turn from Alan away from Ward-Prowse and feeds it forward to Sigurdsson inside the centre circle. Everton yet to really get going, but that could change here if Iwobi can keep the ball in play. He can't, and it will be a throw in now for Southampton.
Yeah, that was good play by Everton. They had the best passages of play so far in the game, playing through from so deep as well. Alan done a wonderful turn, and then the way they've gone backwards then straight away forward, it was just the execution of that pass, just a little bit too much weight on it, and that would have been maybe the first little bit of attack we would have seen in this game.
Southampton 0, Everton 0. 5 minutes played on the south coast. Southampton looking for back-to-back home wins in the Premier League for the first time since December 2019. Has struggled here at St Mary's in recent seasons. Here is Armstrong, the busy Scotland international, always full of running. Danny Ings was just caught there by Sigurdsson and won a free kick right in front of Ralph Hasenhüttl. Looked a painful one for Danny Ings.
He doesn't normally go down that easy, Danny Ings.
He's close to agreeing a new contract, Ings, at Southampton, despite a bit of interest from Tottenham during the most recent transfer window. He's a local boy, was actually let go by the club as a teenager, ended up playing Sunday League football before being re-signed by Bournemouth, and of course then went to Burnley and Liverpool before finally being able to pull on the Saints shirt. Here is Shea Adams with a low cross into the area, blocked by Godfrey. And it will be cleared upfield by Yerry Mina, the Colombian. Calvert-Lewin grappling with Jan Bednarek, and he's kept the ball. Calvert-Lewin, he did well actually, and he's found James Rodriguez here in an very advanced position. James with Bertram and company, and he showed too much of it in the end to James Ward-Prowse, the Saints captain. Here is Redmond now in the orange footwear, but he's given it away to Decore. Iwobi making a good run ahead of him. Here is Alex Iwobi into the penalty area now, left-hand side. Tees it up for Sigurdsson just outside the box. Southampton have got plenty of red shirts back there as Luca Digna comes forward for the first time. Iwobi with a cross plucked from the sky by McCarthy, who, like Pickford at the other end, is also wearing short sleeves.
Must be a new fashion thing for goalkeepers.
Ralph Hasenhüttl, so demanding of these Southampton players, is hollering from the touchline. You have to give him credit, and Southampton fans hate being reminded of it, but to bounce back as they have from that 9-0 defeat, not too many managers, Paul Parker, would have survived a result like that at home.
It's very rare that he did survive. That won't happen again. A manager goes through that. I think himself, he might just fall on his sword rather than actually having to try and play his way through it or be allowed to. He might even, if he was allowed to, he might just not want to do that. But they have done well. I'm quite sure he doesn't want to be reminded of it. But football doesn't allow that. It reminds you of everything. More things that aren't good rather than things that are really good.
Here is Walker Peters, signed from Tottenham Hotspur this summer after a loan period at the end of last season. He's given it away to Iwobi though, a bit cheaply. Iwobi knocking it down the line, but he had to be Usain Bolt to get on the end of his own pass, and it's picked up now by McCarthy, all in yellow, away to our right-hand side. We played 8 minutes. It remains goalless at St Mary's. Not been too many 0-0 draws in the Premier League so far this season. Only 2, I think. One of those, of course, last night in that game at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Chelsea. Here is Nathan Redmond, midway inside Southampton territory, plays it down the left-hand side to his big pal Bertrand. Those two really close on and off the pitch. Here now is Oriol Romeo, the Spaniard with a shaven head. Asked Bednarek to come forward. A little layoff from Armstrong back to Oriol Romeo. Good possession from Southampton, but not really in a position where they can hurt Everton. It's played out to the left-hand side and Bertrand once more. Here is Nathan Redmond trying to play it through the legs of Godfrey. Godfrey alert to the danger. Just going to play this back to the goalkeeper Pickford. It was a bit undercooked, and Pickford, under pressure from Danny Ings, just had to siphon it into the stands.
Yeah, there's not a lot more he could do with that. It was the right thing to do for Pickford. Rather than trying to kick through it to get distance, he just needed to get it away from the goal as quick as possible, and that was to virtually go square on to where his body was, rather than trying to go forward with it.
Well, 9 minutes on the clock. Still we await the first goal. It's going to be a throw-in that Ryan Bertrand will take, almost level with the penalty spot. Gets it back from Danny Ings. He's going to cross into the area, but it's over the head of everyone in red, and Luca Digne, under no real pressure, will clear it away on the volley. Good distance as well, and Calvert-Lewin on the chase. So Jan Bednarek, the pole, comes across and heads it out of touch.
Yeah, I just looked at that and I thought to myself, why is he just clearing his lines like that? Someone like him, but it was a really, really good ball in a good area.
Such a good outlet, isn't he? Luca Digne down that left-hand side. Someone that Southampton are going to have to monitor this afternoon. Much like this man on the ball, James Rodriguez. He's rolled it into the feet of Godfrey, who comes forward down the right. Godfrey with a cross, not a bad delivery, and it almost came for Calvert-Lewin. Will come for Iwobi. Across the area he goes, and a really important challenge sliding in from Walker-Peters. A combination of him and Bednarek managed to clear the danger. That was Everton's best move of the game so far.
I'm just wondering why Bertrand is meant to be a fullback. Why didn't he close down Godfrey? Godfrey is more of a centre half than a fullback. Go and put him under a little bit of pressure, but he allows him across the ball far too easy.
Corner cleared as far as Decore. His shot cannons off Vestergaard and will be kept in play on this left-hand side by Shay Adams. He goes back to the goalkeeper McCarthy. Angus McCarthy, who's played every Premier League game since that 9-0 defeat against Leicester. In fact, Angus Gunn, who was the man in goal that day, joined Stoke City on loan on the final day of the EFL deadline. 7 of this 11 for Southampton did start that night, though, against Leicester City. Another illustration of how well Ralph Hasenhüttl has done to rebuild confidence and get them climbing the table. Only 7 teams have picked up more points since that night than the team from Hampshire. Here is Nathan Redmond trying to tee up Bertrand, but it's won back by Decore, and now Alan, such a vital component in the Everton ranks now. The summer signing from Napoli. Played it out to Alex Iwobi, challenged by Ings. Iwobi wins it back and then finds Michael Keane just inside the Everton half. Godfrey trying to go down the line, but it's won by Bertrand. He's quickly turned defence into attack with a pass fizzed in at the feet of Shay Adams, who's done well to outmuscle Alan. Here is Danny Ings on the edge of the area. I think he wanted to maybe work some space to get a shot off, but in the end he rolls it out to the right, and Armstrong chips it over the head of Luca Digne to the fullback Walker-Peters. Strange choice, really, because Southampton have now gone all the way back into their own half when they did have the ball in a promising area. Here is Ward-Prowse. Has to shield it from Alan and goes back to Big Vestergaard once more. Now Danny Ings with Bertrand bombing forward on the overlap. Shay Adams to aim at in the centre. So too Redmond, and he side-foots it wide. That's a golden chance for Nathan Redmond to put Southampton in front.
Yeah, he's not going to get much better than that during this game, and such an opportunity to go and hit the target with, and he ends up scuffing it with his weaker foot. And to hit it there, he's just dug it into the ground. His head wasn't right. He's got to get his head down. He's got to look at the ball, and he slightly lifts his head, and he ends up scuffing the ball into the ground, and it just bobbles past the post with no great power on it.
Well, Nathan Redmond so close there to opening the scoring for Southampton. You have to say probably on the balance of play it would have been deserved in these first 12 minutes, but he's only scored once, Redmond, in his last 16 appearances, and maybe that was the shot of a player whose confidence in front of goal is not particularly high. Here is James Rodriguez, no issue with his confidence. He turns neatly away from Romeu and then guides a lovely ball out to the left-hand side in Iwobi. Sigurdsson and Calvert-Lewin in the centre. Iwobi might go alone here, the shot deflects, and it's behind for a second Everton corner.
Yeah, Iwobi's had the ball, I think, more than most Everton players in that front line, but he's been the most wasteful when he's had it. He hasn't produced a decent end product yet, and he gets that ball and he cuts inside. That opens up the avenue there for Digne to get down there, and he should have given it to him. It was on for him because Walker-Peters wasn't set for that overlap. He was square on.
Corner for Everton. Gylfi Sigurdsson over on the far left-hand side. Yerry Mina, who's good in the air, has come forward. So too Michael Keane, who's been among the goals early in this campaign, but it's cleared to Decore. Gives it back to Sigurdsson. And now Iwobi again on the left-hand side, away from Redmond. Armstrong can't win it back either, and he's still got it Iwobi. He's playing a good ball into Sigurdsson. Can he cut it back here? Well, stabbed clear by Vestergaard. For the first time, really, Southampton under pressure, but Romeo has alleviated that pressure by finding Danny Ings, who tried to roll it into the stride of Adams. And it was a really important intervention from Ben Godfrey there to stop the rapid counter-attack.
It was great recovery work there by Ben Godfrey. He's a quick lad anyway, plus he's a centre-half as well, so his positional sense should have been very, very good to see that, and more importantly, to sense the danger, and that's what he done. Shay Adams would have been away if it wasn't.
Sigurdsson finds Decore inside the centre circle. Everton just showing signs that they're beginning to warm to the task here. 14 gone, 0-0 the score. Yerry Mina, with that streak of blonde in his hair, plays it out to the right-hand side, and Godfrey. Southampton have had 61% possession in these early exchanges. Had the best chance as well, courtesy of Redmond, that he put wide. Here is Allan, forward to Sigurdsson. Calvert-Lewin begin to turn away from Ryan Bertrand. He was caught. It's going to be a free kick within shooting range here.
Yeah, it was a lovely little ball into Calvert-Lewin. His first touch was to take it away, and to be honest, Bertrand's come across and he wasn't looking at the ball, and he's quite poor defending on his part. He didn't have to even go anywhere near it, because the ball would have just ended up going out wide. It wouldn't have put Southampton under great pressure. This free kick has put them under big pressure.
Yeah, I think we know what's coming here from James Rodriguez. The ball in a very central position, only about 8 or 9 yards outside the penalty area. Gylfi Sigurdsson is showing interest as well, but I'm convinced it will be James Rodriguez. He just placed the ball down as if he's looking for that valve, Cristiano Ronaldo style. Nervous moment for Alex McCarthy as he hugs that near post. There are 4 players in the Southampton wall. McCarthy just coming across the centre of the goal. James Rodriguez sizing up this opportunity, having scored 3 goals already in just the 4 Premier League appearances today. Referee Kevin Friend just making sure the wall is back the required distance. I think he was unhappy with where James had positioned it. Oh. This free kick will be taken eventually, I promise. He's going to be the Colombian Rodriguez, taking a big intake of breath, and he's going to shoot left-footed straight into the arms of McCarthy.
Yeah, there was a big waiting moment for something unbelievable to happen, and it was on target, but it was an easy one in the end for McCarthy. Straight at him.
Jerry Keller, Southampton fan, has tweeted saying, dragging us guys around 18 holes of golf in Abita Springs, Louisiana. Says he's loving the commentary. Ralph Adam is listening in Diamond FM, tipping Everton to win. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in at TalkSport Live. Send some pictures if you can. 17 minutes gone. It's still Southampton 0, Everton 0. Allan pokes it through the legs of Redmond, now to the right-hand side, and Godfrey. And it's given away cheaply by James Rodriguez, straight to Danny Ings. Allan trying to win it back for Everton, but Ings has found Redmond over on the left-hand side, and they've got plenty forward here. Redmond taking on Godfrey. James trying to atone for the error, but still Redmond has the ball. Plays it back to Bertrand. And here now is Oriol Romeo again. From having had the ball on the edge of the penalty area, they've passed it all the way back to the halfway line, Southampton.
I think that says a lot about the way Everton are defending, Alex, on that side of it. They're doing a good job at the moment. They're not diving in.
Bertrand with a cross into the side netting, so it's going to be a goal kick for Everton.
Yep, they're not diving in and forcing situations. You know, the opportunity to give them free kicks and maybe penalties away. They're just holding their ground, blocking up areas, not allowing the ball to be passed in between the lines, and they're forcing them back. Southampton are going to have to look maybe a different way of doing it, or they've just got to sharpen up in their passing. As much as they've had a lot of possession, it hasn't been great, the possession they've had, because they haven't really produced anything from it.
2 wins from 2 away from home so far this season for Everton. They haven't won their first 3 games on the road in a league campaign for 82 years. I wonder what Carlo Ancelotti, as he points toward the Southampton penalty area, will have made of their opening 18 minutes. Yerry Mina, Jenner's taking a bit of a chance there, passing it out from the back. Hit Danny Ings on the edge of the area, but fell kindly for Godfrey, and then Decore into James Rodriguez. Alan finds Iwobi inside the centre circle. They do pass the ball around crisply, Everton, when they come forward. And here is Gylfi Sigurdsson, edge of the penalty area, shoots right-footed, and he's hammered it against the crossbar. Goalkeeper McCarthy beaten all ends up. A wry smile from Gylfi Sigurdsson, because he knows he was inches away there from marking his 350th appearance in English football with what would have been an outstanding goal.
We have to say that is the best passage of play, because it was progressive, it was done at pace as well. And Sigurdsson, the moment he gets that ball to him on the angle of the box, he knows he's going to step inside, and he hits it, and the ball actually goes up and it comes down really quickly as well. That's the bit I think that fooled Alex McCarthy. The ball moved in the air and it dipped down as well. That's why he looked so anxious as well, because the ball just changed so quickly, it just dropped.
Well, the closest Everton have come to opening the scoring in this first half. James Rodriguez robbed the possession by Romeu. On halfway, James Ward-Prowse is going to have to go back towards his home penalty area. Here is Bednarek in the white boots, playing it forward to Armstrong, who can't hold it up. One back by Digne, and Armstrong sliding in. That wins a throw-in off Alex Iwobi. 0-0 the score, 20 minutes played. Everton have lost only 5 of the last 21 Premier League meetings between these two. Having not seen too much of the ball early on, starting now to ask some questions. Iwobi trying to attack down the left-hand side. It's swept clear by Bednarek. Carl Walker-Peters controls it on the chest, right on the touchline. Down the Southampton right. It's switched now to this left-hand side, where Bertrand will come motoring forward. He's got loads of space as well to run into. Alan eventually comes across to meet him. Bertrand plays it infield to Redmond. Here is Oriol Romeu now for Southampton. Ward-Prowse. Back they go out to the right, and Walker-Peters. Everton have got plenty back behind the ball now. Being given the opportunity to regroup, and it's cleared away and collected now by Jan Bednarek inside the Saints half, away to our right. Here is Vestergaard, all 6'5" of it, plays it back to McCarthy, the goalkeeper. Bednarek forward to Oriol Romeu, but still inside Southampton territory. Ward-Prowse now asked to come forward over halfway. He's got Walker-Peters to his right. Walker-Peters just tapping it into the path of Romeu. Danny Ings trying to turn away from Alan. Shea Adams has carried the ball into the penalty area. Getting forced out to the right-hand side, and Walker-Peters really well organised here, Everton, when they aren't in possession. Making it very difficult for Southampton to find too much space in the final third.
Making it very, very difficult. It's just seen then they get almost to the edge of the box, and then Everton turn them around and force them back to the halfway line.
Here is Stuart Armstrong. Gets through plenty of miles in that Southampton midfield. He put a 1-2 there off to Corey, but works out well. Bertrand crosses low into the area. Armstrong had a swipe at it, but kicked thin air. Here's Walker-Peters with a low ball drilled in, cleared away by Keane. Everton coming under pressure. Wonder if Armstrong, Paul, could have done better with the initial effort.
I think he looked like he was actually he was side on, so he's tried to kick it across with his left foot like a pendulum. It was always going to be a difficult skill to actually to get anything from it, and that's why he ends up swinging, and he falls over in the end.
Here is Romeu. Spotted the run of Carl Walker-Peters, but just delayed the pass, so in the end goes short for James Ward-Prowse. The academy product. Ward-Prowse forward to Walker-Peters, now Armstrong. Here is Romeo again. Sees Redmond in space in the area. Finds him as well, Redmond with a left-footed effort. I think he actually bounced off his standing foot and scoops wide and behind for a goal kick.
I mean, again, I have to say that's good defending. Just with, on that point, just where Redmond's gone into, and he actually couldn't do anything with it because he's not a left footer. He just couldn't adjust his feet quick enough to actually try and get his foot around it. So he ends up kicking it in a straight line, which must have been about a good 6 foot wide of the near post.
Southampton 0, Everton 0. DJ Keefe has tweeted a picture of him looking fishing in Florida Keys, hoping for an Arsenal victory later. In the meantime, he says, let's go Saints. He's catching snapper. It's a very sunny afternoon over there in the USA. Still decent conditions on the south coast in contrast to what we witnessed up and down the country yesterday.
And this morning.
Just thinking of that game at Old Trafford, absolutely poured down, didn't it, for the entire 90 minutes. I think maybe that contributed to the fact it wasn't a great spectacle. Or maybe I'm being too kind on the players, Paul.
It's to say it was Manchester, and this Manchester and rain just seems to go so well together.
Here is Yannick Vestergaard in the blue boots inside his own half of the field. 0-0 the score between two sides who've started the campaign in reasonable form. Southampton have already conceded 9 goals. That's their worst defensive record at this stage of the campaign in 8 years. Here is Walker Peters being forced back towards his own goal, and Iwobi in the end loses patience and just plays it out for a Southampton throw. Carlo Ancelotti chewing furiously, arms folded, staring on like a suspicious school teacher. One of the most decorated coaches in Europe, and clearly has already made his imprint on this Everton side. They were in dire straits, weren't they, when he took over last season. Produced Champions League form under the wily Italian. I think Southampton just need to inject a bit more tempo in their play. In fact, they're slowing the game down, just gives Everton the opportunity to get everybody back behind the ball when they're not in possession. Here is Yannick Vestergaard for the Saints. Ward-Prowse tries to scoop it forward, looking at Danny Ings, Michael Keane, who's really improved under Ancelotti, steps across confidently, and then, just as I say that, he runs it out of play for a throw.
He just seemed then he went to go back to the goalkeeper. He felt that weren't right, so he turns away, and he wasn't comfortable to go on his left side, so he flips back again. Sometimes when you're there, you just got to make sure you just get enough height in it. Don't concern yourself with distance. It's about the height. That gives you time then to adjust individually and collectively as a defence. And he could put his team under pressure, but Southampton decided to go backwards.
Here's Ryan Bertrand coming forward down the left-hand side, crosses into the area. Headed away by Alain Romeo with a shot deflected, and that's a really good save from Jordan Pickford, because it fizzed through a crowded penalty area, and Pickford flings himself down to the left post and managed to palm it clear. Romeo, who scored from a not dissimilar position against West Bromwich Albion in Southampton's last home game, may have been fancying a second in quick succession. It cannoned off Sigurdsson as well. Here's Ward-Prowse into the area, and Southampton do take the lead. James Ward-Prowse, on his 200th start for the club, has rifled right-footed beyond his England teammate Jordan Pickford, and seconds after Pickford makes a really good save to deny Romeo, he is picking the ball out the back of the net. Southampton 1, Everton 0.
And it was awful defending really by Everton. They've allowed Ward-Prowse to actually wander up and collect the throw in. He plays it over an Everton player's head, and then he just makes... Ball goes into Ings, who plays a 1-2 with him, and then he just shoots across the front of Jordan Pickford. It was far too easy, really, the way he broke through that back four. Pickford gets a slight touch, but that only helps it to go hit the side netting.
Powerful finish from James Ward-Prowse, only his second goal in 34 appearances brings out the golf club celebration. And Southampton, who have been the dominant force in these opening 28 minutes, have a goal to show for their efforts. 1-0 they lead. How will Everton react to falling behind? Here's Iwobi on the left-hand side. Now Yerry Mina just on the edge of the Everton penalty area. They've not been quite as fluent, Everton, as we've seen in many of their matches so far this season. Of course, they did concede the first goal in that Merseyside derby and showed their powers of recovery at Goodison Park a week ago. Here's Sigurdsson forward to Iwobi. Iwobi looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the area. Well read by Vestergaard and hooked away in the end by Ward-Prowse, the goal scorer. Encouraging response, though, for Carlo Ancelotti's men.
They just need to get Calvert-Lewin more in the game. Haven't seen a lot of him in the last 10 minutes or so. Hasn't been on the ball.
Here's Sigurdsson trying to feed it forward for Calvert-Lewin. Again, it was well defended by Bednarek. Well read. And then brought clear by Armstrong. I think again there we've seen that the versatility of Danny Ings. It's not just the goals that he brings. He's a very clever player. Drops into that number 10 role, and it was a lovely ball forward for James Ward-Prowse to set up the opener.
I have to say, Southampton have got a very, very, very workaholic front two. They don't stop working with and without the ball. Constant pests to the centre halves of Everton so far.
He doesn't score many goals, Shay Adams playing up there with Danny Ings, but they have formed a decent partnership. I think he's a good foil for the number 9. The player signed from Birmingham City at the start of last season. Took him 29 matches to get off the mark in a Southampton shirt. It was a spectacular goal when he did, you may recall, the lob against Edison of Manchester City. Post-lockdown. He has scored 5 times in his last 11 matches in the Premier League. They could have sold him to Leeds in January, but Ralph Hasenhüttl was determined to keep him. It's a good ball from James Rodriguez out to the left-hand side. Forward it goes towards Calvert-Lewin. Again, Bednarek was there. The two Southampton central defence having a good game so far. Here's Walker-Peters, forward to Armstrong. This is where they do look dangerous, when Everton commit men forward, but Armstrong forced to check back into his own half after Doucouré came across. And it's with Jan Bednarek. Southampton 1, Everton 0. Half an hour played here on Premier League Live. The company of Alex Crook and Paul Parker, the former England defender. As McCarthy launches it long upfield for Southampton. Michael Keane with a header away. Romeu. And he nods it out to Alex Iwobi on the left-hand side. Here now is Michael Keane back in the Everton half. Still 59% possession in Southampton's favour. They lead 1-0, courtesy of James Ward-Prowse's goal in the 27th minute. Good finish into the bottom corner after Everton have played their way into trouble. I think Ralph Hasenhüttl, the man they call the Klopp of the Alps, will be reasonably pleased, Paul, with the opening 31 minutes.
Yeah, I think he will be. I mean, there was a little bit in control. Obviously, we saw that with the possession they had. Then they'd slightly lost their way and allowed Everton to become the team that is making things happen more, and obviously getting that goal. You know, they deserved it because of what they're putting to the game so far. It's all about what Everton can offer now. They've got to be a little bit brighter in what they're doing in the final thirds.
Here now is James Ward-Prowse, deep inside Everton territory, away to our left. He's called Bertrand forward from left back, and Bertrand plays it out to the near touchline and Redmond. Danny Ings just loitering on the edge of the penalty area. Adams has made a good run to the edge of the 6-yard box. He stood up across Redmond and it went right the way across the goal line.
Yeah, it wasn't a great cross. In fact, I think he thought it was going to go out of play. I think everyone did.
Lucadinha clears it away, but at the moment Dominic Calvert-Lewin chasing lost causes. It's back with Ward-Prowse just on the edge of the centre circle. 1-0 they lead, Southampton. Set Ward-Prowse on the ball now. He goes back to Bednarek. Alex McCarthy, apart from that effort against the crossbar from Sigurdsson, has had a relatively comfortable afternoon. He's sprayed the ball out to the left-hand side and Bertrand. Here is Oriol Romeu. Bertrand with a no-look pass back to Vestergaard. Now, building up ahead of steam again here, Southampton. Redmond forward to Che Adams. First touch was heavy, but he still kept the ball. He's dragged Michael Keane out to his left-hand side. So a bit of space in the centre for Armstrong. Now James Ward-Prowse, who just scoops it over the top for Redmond. Neat control on the chest by Redmond. He's down now by the left corner flag, up against Godfrey. Redmond with a right-footed cross, cleared by Allan, but only as far as Armstrong. Everton struggling to clear the lines here. In the end, Armstrong's cross is blocked out for a throw by Decore.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are really struggling there. I just looked at Redmond, and his ball in, after doing that good footwork, his ball in was poor. Allan's actual defensive ball out of the box was poor. He gave it back to Southampton.
Well, the referee, Kevin French, just come across to speak with Yerry Mina. Not exactly sure what that's all about. Mina looks as confused as anybody, and Southampton now will take the throw with just over 11 minutes of the half remaining. 1-0 Southampton in front here. It's going to be Ryan Bertrand to take the throw down by the corner flag. Gets it back from Redmond, and here's Oriol Romeu. Finds Bertrand still on the touchline. He scoops it again over the top, and it's volleyed away by Godfrey. They will feel Southampton. They're going to get some joy down this left-hand side against Ben Godfrey, who, as you've mentioned already, Paul, is traditionally a central defender, but deployed in place of the injured Coleman down the right-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well, is that Ben Godfrey's not going to be springing forward like the way that Seamus Coleman would as well. So straight away he's got Bertrand who's coming on to him, and then you've got Nathan Redmond down there. He's not asking questions of them. Those two are asking questions of him, so it's a big problem. Attacking-wise, they're a little bit limited. I think Digne can't get forward either. That's a loss up there. So you're asking Rodriguez really to be your playmaker, be your main creative player, and he can't get on the ball at this moment in time.
No, I was going to say he's had a very quiet game, James Rodriguez, by the incredible standards that he's set so far in an Everton shirt. Here's Danny Ings, who continues to be a menace for the Everton defence. That's a lovely ball in. Che Adams with a chance to double the lead here, and he does so. And that front two that Paul Parker was praising combine to double Southampton's advantage. Che Adams, with his second goal of the season, makes it Southampton 2, Everton 0.
I mean, I keep talking about defending. I think it's one of the big issues being talked about in this Premier League so far, the goals that teams are giving away. But I'm just looking here, there's two of them up against one. Ben Godfrey has made a recovery one, but he hasn't gone towards the ball, and that allows Danny Ings to get to the byline and put a lovely ball in. He just stood the ball up from the byline, and I'm looking there and I'm trying to see who it was, number 10, Sigurdsson, who's jumped, but he doesn't get anywhere near it. It goes over the top of his head, it falls to Che Evans, controls it well and just strikes across it, and the crossing, it just bobbles just underneath Jordan Pickford.
I think it may even have deflected off Sigurdsson on its way to goal, and that probably led to the fact that Pickford couldn't keep it out. Really good play again by Danny Ings, just to loop the cross to the far post. James Ward-Prowse could have gone for it, left it for Adams, and it was an emphatic finish to make it 2-0 Southampton.
I have to say as well, he actually has that extra touch as well, doesn't he? He had enough time even to almost line his body up before he struck it. I mean, he struck it on his third touch, and there wasn't an Everton player around to actually make contact with him.
I did say to you, Paul, that I fancied Southampton before the game.
I knew you was going to mention that. But at the moment in time, as we say, what we saw last weekend, there's plenty of time for a recovery.
I wonder if Carlo Ancelotti, even at this early stage, might just be contemplating a tactical tweak, because with the absentees, Coleman and Richarlison, Everton have struggled really to make any kind of attacking impression, apart from that effort from Sigurdsson that came back off the bar, that is. Here is Decore, 2-0 Southampton lead. James Ward-Prowse in the 27th minute. Che Adams doubling up 8 minutes later. Give the ball away again, Everton high up the pitch. Iwobi to Danny Ings, who just showed too much of it to Iwobi, but Carlo Ancelotti looks distinctly unimpressed over on the touchline.
They're just lacking ideas at the moment. Their wide players are not getting on the ball, and when they are getting on the balls, so much with Iwobi, then there's no end product. So I'm just wondering, their creativity, it's not coming from anywhere. I'm looking what he's got on the bench to add to it. Don't know, I'm looking at Bernard, Gomez.
Well, they tried to ship him out, Bernard, during the transfer window.
There's not a lot there at the moment. It's going to trouble Southampton, and they've allowed Southampton virtually now. They're sitting back deep. But they are pressing, but they're pressing from their own half now because they've got that 2-goal advantage. They don't have to go that deep with Everton.
I've just picked up the Austrian tones there of Ralph Hasenhüttl saying no time to change, this is good. Pretty impressed with what he's seen from Southampton in the first 38 minutes on this 1-year anniversary of the 9-0 defeat they suffered at home by Leicester. At the moment, it just shows how far they've come in those 12 months since the debacle. Dominic Calvert-Lewin cutting a very frustrated figure for Everton so far. Toffees, who've won 7 of their 8 matches in all competition, but have been forced into errors here. Iwobi again gives it away to Armstrong this time, and then Redmond dispossessed eventually by Allan. And here is James Rodriguez, who we've barely mentioned in this first half. Here is Decore. Credit to Southampton for keeping Everton's main creative spark off the ball. Here is Decore again. Out to the left in Iwobi. Iwobi trying to play it down the line to Digne. Walker-Peters slides in and concedes the throw. Good defending from the former Tottenham player.
It's good by Everton just by Iwobi to actually use the run this time around. That's one of the bigger problems.
Here's Allan. Are you surprised we've not seen more high balls into that Southampton penalty area? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, such a potent force in the air so far this season.
Yeah, they haven't done it, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. They're getting wide areas, just deliver the ball. They're looking for the...
Digne again with a low cross, which is cleared by Bednarek after a good ball upfield initially from Pickford, the goalkeeper, to start that attack.
Yeah, they're just looking to be intricate around the box. It's just not going to work.
Well, that's a great ball by Danny Ings. Shea Adams looks to have timed his run to perfection. He's in the penalty area. He needs a bit of support. He's got it now with Armstrong, and it's 3-0. Stuart Armstrong marking his return to the Southampton team with a goal. Another emphatic finish, but maybe the flag has now belatedly gone up on the far side. Shea Adams immediately looked across the assistant referee. Well, under the new protocol with VAR, the assistant has done his job correctly, kept the flag down until Shea Adams actually got involved in the play. I think the fact that Adams glanced over to the assistant suggests he was pulled just offside and the goal won't stand.
I thought that myself, just the yards that Shea Adams had on the defence. I thought myself, the defence isn't that slow to be caught out like that.
It was almost a guilty look, wasn't it, from Shea Adams, and Armstrong's celebrations cut short, so it remains Southampton 2, Everton 0. Abby says, loving your commentary here at Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Southampton winning this one today with 3-0. Here's Iwobi. Again, good defending by Walker-Peters, stopped the cross and then concedes a corner. Firefly says, enjoying every moment of the commentary. Southampton taking the 4 points home. Don't see Everton coming back from this still. Plenty of time. They've got their third quarter of the first half. It's going to be taken from the left-hand side by Gylfi Sigurdsson, right-footed. Punched away by McCarthy, commanding goalkeeping. He's picked up on the halfway line by Luca Digne. 4 minutes of the first half remaining. Here is James Rodriguez. Left-footed swirling ball into the area, and Armstrong reads it and concedes yet another corner. Such an important player for Southampton, Stuart Armstrong. Not necessarily a headline grabber, but the work that he does off the ball, he probably clocks up more miles than anybody else in this team, and they do miss him when he's not there.
Yeah, he goes on both sides as well. It's been quite a lot in his first times, I should say, in his first half when he's been on the left-hand side.
Sigurdsson with the ball in, looking for Yerry Mina. Just bounces off his head, but kept alive by James Rodriguez. He claims he was pushed by Shea Adams, looked a fair challenge, and referee Kevin Friend says play on. Here is Oriol Romeu in the left wing position for the Saints. 2-0 they lead. Would have been 3, but for the most marginal of offside calls against Shea Adams. Here is Yannick Vestergaard, who really has forced his way back into Ralph Hasenhüttl's plans this season. Vestergaard, one of the main victims of that 9-0 defeat against Leicester, but starting, I think, for the 4th match running. Here is James Ward-Prowse now, coming forward into the Everton half and playing it down the left-hand side to Armstrong. Looks like he and Nathan Redmond have just swapped sides momentarily. James Ward-Prowse concedes a throw, taken quickly by Godfrey. James Rodriguez there ahead of Romeu, and he's found Decore, chipped into the penalty area. Iwobi. Rolls it back for Abdoulaye Doucouré. Need to get the cross in here. Everton a bit slow to do so. Digne eventually does, but can only find Ward-Prowse, who swivels and clears it upfield. Keane heads it back towards the penalty area, where it's collected by Oriel Romeu. A late challenge by Doucouré on Armstrong and a free kick for Southampton. Again, Paul Parker clearly doesn't agree.
No, I suppose I have to see that again, but it looked like he got a block on the ball there, to be perfectly honest.
Just watching a replay of the incident where Shay Adams maybe did just give James Rodriguez a bit of a shove, Paul. Possible penalty appeal.
Yeah, but as the old saying goes, if that's outside the box, I think there's every chance the referee would have given that a foul.
And a free kick here for Southampton, taken by their goalkeeper McCarthy. Gets plenty of purchase on it. It's Luca Digne out jumping Adams and heading it forward to Iwobi. Iwobi turning away from Walker Peters. He was caught. And it's a free kick that Redmond will try and delay Sigurdsson taking. Can Everton get themselves back in the game before half-time? We've got 90 seconds of the opening 45 remaining here. James Rodriguez on the ball, 2 yards inside Everton territory. Alain finding Michael Keane. Keane forward down the left-hand side to Digne. And this is Alain. Ralph Hasenhüttl still urging his team forward. Very vocal down on the touchline. They've got it back with Adams into the centre circle, but he's dispossessed by Doucouré. Gylfi Sigurdsson is again going to try and go direct and release Calvert-Lewin, but once again Bednarek equal to the task. It wasn't a great ball. The work rate of these Southampton players in this first half has been a joy to behold. And here's Danny Ings again trying to play it through for Adams. Yerry Mina just cushions it back to Pickford. Yet another game where Jordan Pickford has failed to keep a clean sheet, just 1 in 8 appearances now this season for him. Here is James Rodriguez inside the centre circle. That's a good ball out to Iwobi. Miscontrols it. It's had a bit of a stinker, Iwobi, in all honesty.
He certainly has. He chose the wrong platform to take that ball on. He's tried to do it like off his chest when he didn't have to go and do it off his chest. He just had to adjust his body a little bit better than what it was, because it was a wonderful ball out. He dug it up. He should never have been allowed to get the ball there, but he did, Rodriguez.
Well, a big team talk to come for Carlo Ancelotti. His side have had things mostly their own way over the course of the season so far, but certainly not been the case this afternoon. We're into 1 added minute at the end of the first half. Southampton 2 goals to good. For those of you just joining us, and they've been good value for that 2-0 lead. Here's Alex Iwobi, infield for Alain. Alain away from Ings. And then manages to smuggle it back for Doucouré. Godfrey crossing into the penalty area, but manages to find the stand behind the goal. He's agitated, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin waiting in the centre displays his frustration as well. That really, Paul, sums up Everton's first half efforts.
Yeah, it's been poor. The end product has been really poor. There hasn't been enough in the final third of, making any opportunities, but when they've been in wide areas, if they haven't crossed it, you think yourself, with someone like Calvert-Lewin in there, that's criminal. And when they have crossed it, it's been awful. The delivery has been really poor from Everton.
Well, the 1 added minute is over. All eyes now on the referee. And there goes the half-time whistle. A half to forget for Everton at the start of this impressive campaign so far. James Ward-Prowse giving Southampton the lead after indecision in the Toffees penalty area in the 27th minute. That was doubled 8 minutes later. Shay Adams with his second of the campaign. Both made by Danny Ings, who usually loves to score against Everton. But he's been very much Southampton's creative spark this afternoon, a creative spark that's been lacking at the other end. And Everton, for the first time this season, staring down the barrel of defeat. Half-time at St Mary's. It is Southampton 2, Everton 0. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at TalkSport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, texts, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Goff, no running there, boy. But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Doug, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I'm not listening to him, I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, who hands up who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible binge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved Talk Sport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. Talk Sport.
Welcome back to the St Mary's Stadium. Everton coming into the game as the Premier League leaders, but those title credentials have certainly been put to the test in a difficult first half on the South Coast. Here is Gylfi Sigurdsson, edge of the penalty area, shoots right-footed, and he's hammered it against the crossbar. Goalkeeper McCarthy beaten all ends up.
He hits it and the ball actually goes up and it comes down really quickly as well. That's the bit I think that fooled Alex McCarthy. The ball moved in the air and it dipped down as well. That's why he looked so anxious as well, because the ball just changed so quickly, it just dropped.
Here's Ward-Prowse into the area and Southampton do take the lead. James Ward-Prowse on his 200th start for the club has rifled right-footed beyond the England teammate Jordan Pickford.
It was awful defending really by Everton. They've allowed Ward-Prowse to actually wander up and collect the throw-in. He plays it over an Everton player's head, and then he just makes ball goes into Wings, who plays a 1-2 with him, and then he just shoots across the front of Jordan Pickford. It was far too easy really the way he broke through that back four. Pickford gets a slight touch, but that only helps it to go hit the side netting.
Here's Danny Ings, who continues to be a menace for the Everton defence. That's a lovely ball in. Shea Adams with a chance to double the lead here, and he does so. And that front two that Paul Parker was praising combine to double Southampton's advantage. Shea Adams with his second goal of the season makes it Southampton 2, Everton 0. Yeah, and that scoreline certainly doesn't flatter Southampton. A really impressive first half from Ralph Hasenhüttl's men. That high press has put Everton under constant pressure. Danny Ings dropping deep to pull the strings from a number 10 role has also been one of the main reasons for Saints' success so far. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez, two of the stars of the season in these early weeks. Paul Parker, pretty much anonymous.
Yeah, really Everton, there's got to be some hard talking done in that dressing room. They've been they've been really, really poor. There's been nothing really to talk about, and they've a couple of, good passages of play, but when it comes about what the game's about, it's making the keeper work. They haven't done that. At all at this moment. McCarthy's had it quite easy. The back line, I don't know if they're working really hard or the fact of Everton have just been a little bit soft up front, but I think it just needs a half-time change. But I'm looking at the bench and I'm just saying, is there enough on the bench that can go and make this change, make a change to the way they are? And that's going to be Everton's problem really this season if they really are going to look to maybe make Champions League, which again I mentioned is the aspiration of Carlo Ancelotti, but I'm looking at maybe the quality they've got outside of 11, 12 players. I don't know if they've got enough.
Yeah, no Seamus Coleman today due to injury, no Richarlison as he's suspended, and they really have missed those two first-team players.
They certainly have. Richarlison, sometimes I look at him, I think to myself, cool, I'm not sure about him, but when I'm looking at this performance here, the one thing that if things ain't going right, he would make sure, and any player around him, he would make their life difficult. The Southampton centre-halves would be having a difficult time because he'd be moaning, he isn't going his way, he'd be making it difficult when they get on the ball, he'd be looking to opportunities to get close to him to maybe see if he can get free kicks. Not seeing anything at all at the moment. Calvert-Lewin has been very quiet. Is that because Richarlison isn't near to him as well? He's his foil. He might just need him much more than what he believed.
And this was billed as the battle of two England teammates, two of the informed strikers in the Premier League at the moment. Danny Ings is winning it hands down against Dominic Calvert-Lewin. May not have scored, but he's got 2 assists.
Yep, exactly right. And yes, goals are great, but when you do look at Danny Ings, his game is more about scoring goals. He is so unselfish. If he was more selfish, I just wonder how many goals he just might get. But when you look at someone like Danny Ings, I always assess him and judge him by the fact of there's every chance that he would always be close to winning Player of the Year, because he's the one person, if he's not playing, you seriously miss him in your team.
Well, there are 2 more matches still to come over the course of the afternoon. Arsenal against Leicester is a 7:15 kick-off. Tom Rennie and David Conley standing by to bring you that one. But at 4:30, after we've finished at St Mary's, it is Wolves against Newcastle. Let's hear from Nuno Espirito Santo, who's been praising the Wolves youngster, Max Kilman.
Max started with us long time ago. He came from the under-23s, he established himself in the first team. He had the chance to play many games last season, and he's doing well. He performed well. He's working very hard and very committed, so I'm very pleased.
It's Nuno Espirito Santo there. Speaking about Max Kilman, lovely story, Paul Parker. It was only a few seasons ago that he was playing in non-league for Maidenhead against Marlow in front of 91 supporters, but he looks right at home in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, there's this myth about the Premier League that if you come from outside it, you need time to get used to it. You need this. If you're a player, doesn't matter where you come from, you adjust. It's simple as that. You get into it. By sitting around, he needs time. You got to give him time because he's just playing at this level. No, you get them straight in there. That's the way. You look at Dele Alli from Milton Keynes straight into Tottenham Hotspur within 12 months or so. He's in the England squad. So it's just about if the player's got enough got the character and he's ambitious, then you can definitely jump from one to the other very, very easy, especially if you've got the quality.
Well, it's Everton who need character in the second half at St Mary's in bundles, really. They are 2-0 down. James Ward-Prowse and Shay Adams with the goals for Southampton. They're in dreamland. What does the second half have in store? You'll find out very shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
TalkSport.
Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at TalkSport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to TalkSport.com and download the app today. or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Goff, no running there, boy. But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive-time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive-time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on sport. Talk Sport. It's the double O duo of the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of Hoss's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Southampton against Everton from St Mary's Stadium. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Manchester United, Fulham and England fullback Paul Parker. This is Premier League Live, and Everton in a bit of a sticky situation. The Toffees down on the south coast, 2-0 behind at half-time. James Ward-Prowse marking his 200th Saints start with the opening goal on 27 minutes of rasping right foot finish beyond Jordan Pickford, and Shay Adams doubling that lead almost from a virtually exact same situation, actually. 8 minutes later, Danny Ings, the creator for both goals, as the Everton players come back out onto the pitch. Their Southampton counterparts just loitering at the mouth of the tunnel. It's going to be fascinating, Paul, isn't it, to see if Carlo Ancelotti goes to his bench at this early stage?
Well, it doesn't look that way at this moment in time, but I think he won't be that long. If they carry on the way they actually finished the first half, he's going to have to make a change, because they didn't. I don't think any players showed him enough, anything at all, any heart or passion, desire, whatever word you want to use. And I've got it wrong there. Bernard's coming on.
Yeah, Bernard, the Brazilian who came very close to leaving Everton, as I understand it, during the transfer window, is going to be called upon here by Carlo Ancelotti. I would imagine as a straight swap for Alex Iwobi, who didn't have the best of first halves.
No, he didn't. I mean, I talked about him before. I don't know. I just think he's just maybe under pressure. He just doesn't look confident. He doesn't look like he had that flamboyancy when he started at Arsenal, when he fell away a little bit there. He's come to Everton and he hasn't delivered at all. And that kind of performance he put in that first 45 minutes, that's if he comes off.
Just getting confirmation now. Bernard on. And it is Alex Iwobi who makes way. No real surprise.
No, I just wonder how he comes back from that, because that puts him out of the picture for a little while, in my opinion, the way he performed now.
Of course, Richarlison suspended. That was the reason that Iwobi was in the team from the start. We are back off and running in the second half here under blue skies at St Mary's. Everton have never won a Premier League game when trailing by 2 goals at half-time. It's happened on 67 previous occasions. They've only managed 4 points from those 67 games. They've got a mountain to climb here against the Alpine Klopp. And here is Shay Adams into the penalty area. Looking for his second, gets the shot away. Tame one in the end, straight into the gloves of Pickford. But Saints, Paul, looking to start the second half where they left off at half-time.
Yeah, I think that says a lot, the way they've gone and started the game. Shay Adams, to me, just every time I see him, he impresses me. You mentioned earlier, he doesn't score a lot of goals, but you can see the reasons why he's in the team. He looks a likeable lad, and he's a grafter, he's honest, and he's getting more and more confident, because I think early on when he wasn't scoring in his Southampton career. He might have just passed a buck there and maybe just tried to pass to somebody, but he still wanted to take it on himself, and because he could see the goal, he wanted that second goal.
A minute played in the second half. Southampton with McCarthy in goal, Walker-Peters, Vestergaard, Bednarek and Bertrand the back line. Armstrong buzzing around in midfield alongside Ward, Prowse, Romeu and Redmond. And Shay Adams and Danny Ings who combined for the second goal up front for Everton. It's now Pickford, the goalkeeper. Godfrey playing out of position at right back. Mina, Keane and Digne completing the defensive lineup. It's Decore, Allan and Sigurdsson in midfield with James Rodriguez on the right. Bernard now on the left, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been starved of service through the middle. We've played just under 2 minutes. Hampton in the red shirts with a white sash, shooting from left to right. They've got a free kick to defend here. Nathan Redmond with a foul over on the far side, and James Rodriguez and Sigurdsson are the two players who stand over the ball. Of course, a 2-0 lead is always a tenuous one. If Everton get a goal back, it would change the complexion. So Hampton have defended that free kick well enough, and here is Bernard, his first touch since coming on, trying to loop across into the air, and it's headed goalwards by Yerry Mina, but straight into the arms of McCarthy.
I wonder if that goes down as a shot on or something on target.
I think it pretty much will be their first shot on target. It's taken 48 minutes to arrive.
I think the ball took that long as well to arrive to McCarthy. It's definitely lacking.
Here's Bernard, dispossessed by Walker-Peters, the right back for Southampton. Almost given away by Romeu, but he's going to clear it away right-footed. Keane there ahead of Adams. And it goes out in the end for a throw-in, which is going to go Southampton's way. The referee, Kevin Friend, just stared, not completely certain which way it was going to go. Carlo Ancelotti still looking far from impressed on the touchline. Everton less than 45 minutes away now from their first defeat this season. The first real test of the campaign in some ways. Although they did, of course, come from behind to take a point in the Merseyside derby. Perhaps a bit fortunate to do so, given the controversial Henderson goal that was chalked off for offside late on. Liverpool hot on their heels in second place in the table at the start of play.
I don't know if it's me, Alex, but every time I keep hearing people strike the ball, it doesn't sound right. The ball, for me, sounds a little bit too firm. We've seen so many players who have struggled to hit areas when it should be pretty simple for them.
You're suggesting it's maybe a bit too pumped up?
Yeah, maybe. It just doesn't sound right. Maybe because the stadium's empty, I don't know, but it doesn't sound right to me.
Here's Danny Ings, left-hand side. Redmond trying to roll it back to Bertrand. James Rodriguez there, but concedes the throw. James Rodriguez, an injury doubt before this game, and at the moment hasn't been able to really get a hold of proceedings. With 5 minutes now gone in the second half, Southampton leading 2-0. Both those goals coming in the first half, both in a devastating 8-minute spell. Zorio Romeu concedes the free kick for a foul on Abdoulaye Decore. And Everton now coming forward down their left-hand side with Luca Digne. They've done well to stifle that threat. Southampton, in fact, they've done well all over the pitch, really. Struggled to pick out a Southampton player who's underperformed. Here is Sigurdsson, rolling it forward to Digne, having a run against Walker-Peters, who again steps across and concedes the corner.
Well, that was a little bit better. Digne actually makes an overlap or makes a run, and he actually gets given the ball, which he never got with Iwobi, never got given the opportunity. He's forced a corner on Everton's part. It's not the best thing, but it's one of the better ones. They've earned the corner.
It's short. James Rodriguez gets it back. Left-footed cross from him, and it's headed across goal by Yerry Mina. The offside flag was up anyway. Yerry Mina will be relieved, Paul, because it was a decent opportunity and he just got the header all wrong.
He did get the header all wrong. I don't know if he saw it late. Oh, that was poor from Bernard there to give him the ball back like that. He should have had a touch and then given it back to him. That's why Rodriguez gets caught offside. But the header just seems to slide off Mina's head. Rather than heading through it, he's tried the faintest of touches and the ball just didn't deviate at all. It just went flat on his head and carried on the same line.
I mentioned Everton's record from 2-0 down at half-time. They haven't won at all when losing at the interval since way back in 2015.
Ooh.
That's the record that Carlo Ancelotti is going to have to put right here this afternoon if they are to maintain their good start to the season. The chance to go 3 points clear of Liverpool at the top. At the moment, a chance they're not taking. Courtesy of first half goals from James Ward-Prowse and Che Adams. And here is Armstrong for Southampton, looking for a third here. He's got Adams ahead of him. Forced to check back by Decore, but still keeps possession. Here's Danny Ings dropping deep once more. It's clearly a game plan that Ralph Hasenhüttl has decided to implement, and it's working well. Here's Bertrand into the area. He had his heels clipped by Godfrey, and I'm convinced, as Bertrand is, that's going to be a penalty. VAR will be looking at that at Stockley Park. I think it was a clumsy tackle. I think he clipped the heels of Bertrand, and I'd be surprised if Southampton don't get a spot kick when the ball is dead. Meanwhile, Everton coming forward with Gylfi Sigurdsson. Here is Abdoulaye Decore now, 40 yards from goal. Bednarek's gone down under a heavy challenge. The referee has stopped the play. And I wonder now, Paul, will they be looking at that penalty call at the other end?
I think the toe come out to try and nick it. The thing about it, though, is for me, Ben, I just think Bertrand's just one of those players. He does go down a hell of a lot.
Well, throws himself to the floor.
I don't think
I
so.
think it was Bertrand's legs that connected with Godfrey as opposed to the other way around.
Was there? I just wonder if there was any contact at all. No, he's thrown himself, his foot into him, in my opinion.
Well,
he's looking for it.
It was a very confident shout from Ryan Bertrand. I have to say, he had me fooled, but referee Kevin Friend, who has awarded penalties in each of his last 2 games in the Premier League, including one for Everton at Crystal Palace, I think he's actually got that one right.
Yeah, am I right in saying that VAR haven't looked at it?
Well, they would have checked it and presumably decided there was no case to answer.
Yeah. So my thing now, which I always keep saying, he's tried to what's what I'm looking for? Cheat the system there.
Yeah.
He should be reprimanded for that. There should be a yellow card.
Well, the issue with VAR is they don't adjudicate yellow cards, so they couldn't tell Kevin Friend to book Bertrand for diving.
But surely he's got to do that.
Well, he had a pretty good view of it. Right, Ryan Bertrand maybe is fortunate to escape that booking. Here is Ward-Prowse playing it down the line, looking for Che Adams. Keane comes across and clears it forward to Digne, who off balance can only find touch on this near side and concede a Southampton throw. 2-0 Saints lead. Saints, who've won 11 home games in the Premier League against Everton. Only picked up more victories against Newcastle since the competition began back in 1992. It's cleared away by Godfrey from that Saints throw. Calvert-Lewin leaping with Vestergaard. You've got to say Vestergaard has certainly had the better of that particular battle so far. Decore picking the pocket of him though, and again Southampton defending well with Bednarek this time. Just for a moment it looked like they might be overrun, but here's Walker-Peters forward to Armstrong. Redmond on the edge of the area. Nathan Redmond looking for number 3, chips it goalwards, but into the stand and behind for a goal kick.
I just didn't see how that was going to happen for Redmond there. He didn't look assured what he was doing. It was a case of, oh, I better just do this now because I've kind of run out of ideas. There wasn't any conviction as he's tried to step inside and then go for that top left-hand corner around Jordan Pickford.
And Everton running out of time in this second half to get themselves back in the game. 10 minutes have already elapsed and Southampton's defence really troubled. Here's Bernard. Switches the play out to the right-hand side and Godfrey who comes forward, but it's not his natural game. Into Abdoulaye Decore. Decore pokes it back out to Godfrey on the right-hand side, but didn't look confident at all. And Danny Ings now will bring it clear for Southampton. He's got Che Adams ahead of it. Tries to roll it into the path of Redmond. Godfrey does well to gobble up the ground and win it back. Gets applauded by Allan for his efforts. And then Sigurdsson gives it away cheaply. And the body language of these Everton players at times is all wrong this afternoon.
It is wrong. There's something obviously not right at this moment because this isn't a team that's come to Southampton as a side that's top of the league and looking to go 3 points in front of their nearest rivals.
Here's James Rodriguez, who's been well shackled by Southampton. Calvert-Lewin coming very deep, but sprays it out neatly to Digne down the left-hand side. Digne with a cross, blocked by Walker-Peters, but blocked by an arm. And Everton here have a free kick just outside the penalty area. Walker-Peters will claim that he was hammered at him from point-blank range, but you could clearly see there both arms above his body.
And he actually pushes them out as well. He's not really contesting it.
It's a yellow card as well for Carl Walker-Peters.
Sometimes I think.
Well, deliberate handball, I suppose.
Yeah, but he didn't. That wasn't the intention. He definitely wasn't trying to handball it. It was just poor way of defending in today's game, or any game really, having your hands that high up.
Can Everton inflict further punishment from the free kick? Gylfi Sigurdsson and Luca Digne will be the two players lining this one up. Yerry Mina will be summoned forward from the back, so too Michael Keane. Digne with a left-footed in-swinger, away by Ings, and then plucked neatly from the sky by Bernard. Goes all the way back to Allan inside the centre circle. Here's Bernard again, down the right this time. Finding Godfrey, and Godfrey trying to knock it around Ryan Bertrand, who just stood tall, and Godfrey fouls Bertrand, I think out of frustration. Tempo's just beginning to boil over, and it will be a free kick for Southampton in their left-back position. They lead 2-0 here on Premier League Live. We'll get the team news very shortly from our second commentary of the afternoon. Wolves at home to Newcastle. Looks like Everton are going to make another change in a moment or so. Abdoulaye Doucouré is making way. So too is Gylfi Sigurdsson, so it's a double change from Carlo Ancelotti. Anthony Gordon, the youngster, is on. And Fabian Delph as well, Paul.
Yeah, I think he's just adding a little bit of energy, really, because there hasn't been much energy in that midfield. I know Delph would definitely give that. Without a doubt, it'll be more competitive than what the other two were in that midfield.
So all three changes made with less than 59 minutes played. That in itself is a reflection of what Carlo Ancelotti has made of this Evertonian performance. Forward it goes, looking for Gordon on this left-hand side. And he races across to keep it in play in the blue boots. And then tees up Bernard, who's left Romeo on his backside.
Oh.
Needs a teammate in the centre. He found James Rodriguez, couldn't quite guide it goalwards, but that was much better from Everton. Anthony Gordon making an instant impression.
Yeah, he's got himself forward, and Bernard has done really well, and he pulls it back, takes a deflection on the way. It was just on the wrong foot, to be honest, for Rodriguez to attack it as he might have done if it was on his left foot.
You have to feel they will have a spell in the game, Everton, with all their attacking quality, when Southampton will come under concerted pressure, but it hasn't happened so far.
The thing that happens there, as we see, they'll go a little bit thinner at the back. The problem with someone like Danny Ings there as well, who chases everything down, and with Che Adams, one of those two will definitely get an opportunity shortly if Everton are going to push on.
Here is Bernard, or Godfrey I should say, over on the right-hand side, taking on Redmond, and then rolling it forward to James Rodriguez. Oriol Romeo has done a good job man-marking James Rodriguez. He's won it back there, and then Redmond trying to skip away from the sliding Allan, just runs out of pitch and concedes a throw. Allan just exchanging a few verbals with Ralph Hasenhüttl there. He wasn't particularly happy with the challenge. Here is the 19-year-old Gordon at the other end. James lays it off for Allan. Oriol Romeo's had an excellent game again, dispossessing Allan, who was just a bit slow there to realise he was in trouble. Here is Danny Ings. Danny Ings looking for goal number 3. Blocked off on the edge of the area by Keane. And it's back now with Carl Walker-Peters 10 yards inside the Everton half. 61 gone, 2-0 Saints lead.
I think we've just seen now how much difference Seamus Coleman makes to Everton as an attacking force. Really, those runs he makes, those unselfish runs, and they're definitely missing it on the right-hand side. Every time Godfrey's gone forward, it's just not him. He's just a centre half. He's trying to do a job. It's full debut, and it's not been a happy one for him.
Well, his is a hamstring problem, so we're going to have to cope without him, you'd have thought, for at least a couple of matches.
Wasn't it the fact that he's only just come back from it and it's reoccurred? Was that it?
Yeah. And as you will know, I'm sure from your playing days, when you start to suffer from hamstring problems, it's difficult to completely overcome them.
Well, I never got my first hamstring injury until I was 27.
Did they occur regularly after that?
After that, yeah, my first season at United, it did, yes.
Well, here's Shea Adams, found expertly by Redmond, taking on Yerry Mina. Shea Adams, just in two minds about whether to shoot or pass it, but they're still coming forward. Armstrong, look at Danny Ings. Any kind of connection, and it would have been 3-0.
Yeah, Danny Ings knows he should have scored there. He might have caught him unawares. He must have been 1.5 yards off the goal line. Shea Adams steps inside, maybe should have shot, but the ball falls to Redmond. Stuart Armstrong puts it across the 6-yard box, and it's actually about waist height on Danny Ings, and there's no way he could have got his foot up there, and he couldn't have pushed it across. It was difficult because it came across so quick to him, Alex.
Well, a glorious chance for Southampton to wrap up the points. 63 minutes gone, 2-0 they lead.
I did say they'll get an opportunity somewhere along the line because Everton having to push out. It was a wonderful opportunity there by Southampton. That just come about just desire, endeavour, and just sheer wanting to score goals by Southampton. Still looking for that third. They're not going to sit on their laurels and think the game's dead. They've won it already. They want the third.
Here's Fabian Delph, the former Premier League title winner with Manchester City, finding Yerry Mina, who stretches those long legs and plays it forward to Alan. Alan away from Redmond neatly, and then taps it out to the right-hand side. And Godfrey, here is James Rodriguez forced back towards the centre circle. He's been fouled by Redmond, and he takes the free kick quickly, looking for Digne, well read by Walker Peters, who nods it away. And then Armstrong forward to Shea Adams. Adams with a little header down towards Oriol Romeu, who's been fouled by Bernard.
He's off.
And it's going to be a yellow card.
Yellow. I thought he had one before.
Yellow card for Bernard.
Oh, I thought it was Digne. I'm just seeing some of it, and these referees sometimes are so quick just to flash yellow cards when the player 100%, as I could see there on 2 occasions on a replay, going for the ball, not looking at the man, just sees the ball, and the player's that little bit more nimble on his feet. He just gets there before him. How you can give a yellow card for that, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks a genuine attempt to play the ball, doesn't it?
Yes.
Here is Yannick Vestergaard for Southampton, forward to Armstrong on halfway. Romeu again mopping up neatly in midfield. And Peters,
it's got to be there. It's Everton ball.
Challenged by Bernard, who wants to throw. It has, I think, gone Everton's way belatedly. It will be Luca Digne with the tattoos down both his arms and wearing the captain's armband as well, who takes it back to Michael Keane. Here is Yerry Mina, furthest man back towards the Everton penalty area. Forward to Fabian Delph. And Digne pokes it forward now to Bernard. Seeing a bit more on the ball in this second half, but Southampton still well drilled and limiting the ball up to the front man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. His golden start of the season at the moment is going to come to an end. Bidding to become only the second player in Premier League history after Sergio Aguero to score in each of his first 7 matches in the competition at the start of a season. Here's Fabian Delph back into Yerry Mina inside the centre circle. Again, Ralph Hasenhüttl cajoling his players on. Ryan Bertrand has conceded a free kick, clipping the heels of Anthony Gordon, who's been busy since coming off the bench a few minutes ago. Here now is Michael Keane for the Toffees. Have to be impressed with the defensive solidity, Paul, that Southampton have shown this afternoon.
No, without a doubt. It's just, they get so many players around the ball. They just don't leave Everton anywhere to go. And because Everton are a team with not a lot of pacey players, it makes it very, very difficult for Everton to go in behind. When you look at the 2 centre-halves they've got at Southampton, they're not the quickest, but Calvert-Lewin, he hasn't really been in a position, or there's not the creative player through the middle to put him in behind either of those two. He's not tested them at all.
Bernard back to Fabian Delph. Delph just inside the Everton half, looking to go long towards Gordon. So cleared with a head of Bertrand, but James Rodriguez there ahead of Nathan Redmond. And There's a good ball into Digne, just tries to nod it down for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Romeu again defending well on the edge of the Southampton area. Here is Luca Digne once more. There are 7 or 8 red shirts between Everton and the goal. Here's Digne looking to cross, looking for Calvert-Lewin at the far post, and well headed clear by Vestergaard. And then Walker-Peters finding Adams, who turns away from Keane and just a chip it over the top for Ings. Intercepted by Godfrey, and then Yerry Mina brings it forward again. The Colombian.
That moment now, just when Che Evans done what he done there, and then he looked for Danny Ings, and the ball, Danny wasn't going to, Mina was going to get there. It was easy for him to stop running, but he still put him under pressure to see if he panicked, and he could have picked up the pieces there, the one-on-one.
James Rodriguez with a cross. Calvert in the target again, nodded away by Vestergaard. Won every aerial ball that Everton have put forward. One of the tallest outfield players in the Premier League at this moment in time. In comes the cross again. Walker-Peters, who isn't one of the tallest, but he nods it clear. This is Digne. Left-footed cross. Calvert-Lewin jumps, but couldn't make a connection. And it will be cleared away by McCarthy, the Saints goalkeeper. We're into the final quarter of the game. Southampton 2, Everton 0 the score. They are going a bit more direct, Paul, in this second half, but it's still Southampton holding firm.
I have to say, they're not looking to fret though, Alex. They are having a go to show more purpose. The substitutions have done that, because 2 have come on, are all action players. They needed that from the start of the game.
It's difficult when you play a lot of the game in second gear suddenly to find the extra gear or two.
Yeah.
Southampton haven't struggled to hit top gear, that's for sure. Here's Yerry Mina though, stopping another decent looking attack led by Armstrong. Here's James Rodriguez, who's probably had one of his quietest games in an Everton shirt thus far. He's found Luca Digne down the left. Here's Bernard trying to link up with Digne. Now Fabian Delph, the former England man. Here's Digne out to Bernard on the left-hand side again. He's got Calvert-Lewin and Gordon in the centre, but he can't find Calvert-Lewin. Bednarek short of that, and it will be cleared by Armstrong, the Scotland international.
Yeah, he needed there, Bernard. I mean, Calvert-Lewin could see what he was doing. He needed to come towards the ball, because Bernard was going to play it into him. He's gone past 2 players, and he wants to play it into his feet in the box. Calvert-Lewin seems like, I'll just stand in the middle and wait for a cross. And you can't do that. He's got to move around and move his 2 other big centre halves around, so they don't know what he's going to do next.
21 minutes for Everton to find a route back into this match. 2-0 they trail. Southampton, who found home wins hard to come by, only 6 of their 15 victories in the Premier League last season, were here at St Mary's, closing in on making it back-to-back victories on their own stomping ground. That will delight Ralph Hasenhüttl, the bearded Austrian, just taking a swig from his water bottle. Ralph who was the question when he was named as Mark Hughes' successor a couple of seasons ago, but Southampton fans and the wider Premier League public certainly know who he is now. It's a foul by Bernard on Carl Walker-Peters.
Oh, I think football's become now, it's a case of when you go shoulder to shoulder with anybody, the first one who falls over will get the foul. And then I think now the one who screams the loudest will get the foul. There's no contact there at all on Walker-Peters, to be perfectly honest. Well, there's not enough, I should say, for the big scream, because in other words, if I watch rugby players, their screams would be excruciating in the whacks that they're taking.
Well, it is a free kick for Southampton. It'll be taken by Jan Bednarek. 2 yards inside the home half of the field. Bednarek sensibly going back to McCarthy. Southampton don't need to press on for more goals, but equally they won't want to sit back and invite any Everton pressure.
They're just lacking any creativity through the middle of the park. There's nothing really there. They've got Delph, who's added a little bit of energy and pace and forward thinking, but he's from deep positions. He's not close up anywhere near Calvert-Lewin. Rodriguez on the other side is coming in from the right hand side. He's too deep, and he's coming in from a wide area, which is easier to stop him playing. They've got no one through the middle who is causing problems. So I just wonder how they're looking to score goals, not unless they want to get to the byline and hope that crosses will make the difference.
I wonder if Ralph Hasenhuttl may also be contemplating some changes. It'd be difficult to know which player to take off, and there's a coming together here between Walker-Peters and Digne. Again, Walker-Peters has reacted angry to the challenge, and it's a red card.
Well, just...
Luca Digne is shown a straight red card by Kevin Friend, and Everton's miserable afternoon goes from bad to worse on the south coast.
I wonder why Digne was chasing him when he couldn't get anywhere near to him. He should have gone to the side, but he's running directly behind him. So at any point that Walker-Peters slows down, then there's going to be a problem. And he's trying to chase behind him. And he treads on the back of his heel, treads on the back of his boot by accident because he's too close. It's not intended. It's an accident, and he gives him a straight red card. No malice was involved. He stops, and because Walker-Peters slows down, that was always going to be inevitable that there was going to be some kind of contact.
Well, Luca Digne is protesting his innocence, but referee Kevin Friend has pointed to his ear, and that's an indication that VAR have looked at that incident at Stockley Park and agree with the referee, and Everton, 2-0 down, are going to finish this game with 10 men.
I think the referee saw that first contact, and he's allowed the play to go on when there was like a foul there. He's allowed it to go on, and he's taken that on and saying there was something there. He's carried it on, and bang, and that's why he's gone and done that.
Well, he's almost in tears, Luca Digne. He can't believe that he's been dismissed. Carlo Ancelotti perplexed as well, having already lost one full-back, Seamus Coleman, to injury. They will now be without Luca Digne for the foreseeable future, having been shown a straight red card, presumably for violent conduct. That will be a 3-match ban. And Everton unravelling in front of our eyes here at St Mary's. Luca Digne kicks something in the tunnel in frustration, still protesting his innocence and shouting at the officials, but the decision will not be overturned, and Everton, who had their work cut out, even with the full quota of 11, surely with 10 men, are going to suffer their first defeat of this season. Carl Walker-Peters, thankfully, is back on his feet, because it, intentional or not, was a challenge that could have caused injury, and I suppose that will be what the referee will say, Paul Parker, and VAR as well, that it was a challenge that endangered an opponent.
Yeah, there's endangering, but there's still, was it intentional or not? Was it an accident? So if I'm running directly behind someone, I don't know when he's going to stop. And if I put my arms up, I'm saying I'm slowing down. If that player immediately changes direction or slows down, I'm going to make contact. So that's how I would look at it. That's why I'm saying they need someone in the studio to have a little chat about it, consultation or something, to understand it. They're not going to understand. That looked like he meant it. That's what they're saying. He meant to do that to him, jump at his Achilles tendon. He didn't.
16 minutes to go. Southampton 2, 10-man Everton 0. Here's James Rodriguez leading a charge forward for Everton, and he has fouled Nathan Redmond now inside the centre circle. It's just not their afternoon, is it?
No, it's not.
James Rodriguez is being called over by the referee.
The thing about it as well, what happens is when you're on good runs, when it does end, sometimes it doesn't end very good. You get thrashed, everything goes against you, and that's what's happened to Everton.
The referee has called over both Bertrand and James Rodriguez. I think just trying to calm matters down now, having shown that red card. You can see the frustration in the face of James Rodriguez, and probably echoes the mood amongst most Evertonians right now. Southampton, who've worked so well as a unit, will just need to keep the ball now, Paul, for the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's what they've got to do, but I'm still quite sure they've got two hungry players up front there. They want another goal. I'm sure that Shea Adams wants to make amends for maybe the start of his Southampton career. He wants more goals. So they're going to push on now. They're down to 10 men. They've got every right to push on that little bit more now, rather than just pass the ball around for the sake of it, doing nothing to see the game out.
Yeah, Danny Ings will also want to add to his impressive tally since the start of last season. Only Jamie Vardy has scored more goals in the Premier League than Ings. Here's James Rodriguez forward to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Another Perfectly timed tackle from Yannick Vestergaard, who's had an excellent game at the heart of the Southampton defence. Here is Bertrand now. Alex McCarthy, 14 minutes away from a precious clean sheet for him. Here is Ward-Prowse. Team news should be in any time now from our second commentary match. Wolves at home to Newcastle. And we've got Arsenal against Leicester rounding off another busy Sunday afternoon. 2 games tomorrow as well here on Premier League Live. Brighton host West Bromwich Albion, that's a 5:30 kickoff, followed by Burnley against Tottenham. Here's Nathan Redmond, fed by Adams, finds Armstrong in the penalty area. Southampton queuing up here for a third goal. He's trying to cut it back for Shea Adams, and it was Alan who slides in and concedes the corner kick.
Yeah, I mean, he's done well as it goes there, Alan, just to get in there. Otherwise, it could have been 3-0. I think we have to say Redmond goes for his first touch. Was poor. It took him back towards where the ball has come from. It killed the impetus of the play forward. But Alan's intervention stops them getting maybe the opportunity to get a third.
Southampton with their second corner. Yannick Vestergaard trying to sneak in unnoticed. The far post is not easy when you're 6'5".
It's much easier when you're 5'7".
It is aimed in at Vestergaard, and it's his header, tipped over by Pickford. An acrobatic save from the England goalkeeper to keep the scoreline down.
I just wonder, what is young Anthony Gordon doing marking Vestergaard? It just doesn't make any sense to me. What is Keane doing? Keane has to be the one going with him, surely. Michael Keane, he steps away the slowest. He just walked away from him. He didn't have to work hard to head of that ball in the end, Vestergaard.
12 minutes to go. Southampton 2, Everton 0 here on Premier League Live. James Ward-Prowse, scorer of the first goal. He's going to take the corner from the left-hand side, right-footed delivery, aimed in the near post. Mina heads it clear and got there ahead of Yannick Vestergaard. Here is Ward-Prowse on the left-hand side as we look. Picking up well with Nathan Redmond, who just holds off Bernard and then plays it back into the centre circle, and Carl Walker-Peters. It's been a very professional performance from Southampton over the afternoon so far. And another unpredictable scoreline. As Walker-Peters comes forward, he's away from Alan, linking up with Redmond. Redmond runs the ball out of play, and Fabian Delph takes the throw quickly. Time certainly not on Everton's side now, especially with the 10 men. Anthony Gordon goes back to Delph. And it's Southampton who continue to impress here with their defensive shape when Everton are in possession. Gordon now away from Redmond. Right? Nice little drop of the shoulder into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin thought about shooting first time. I think he probably should have done. In the end, he ran into a bit of a cul-de-sac, and Vestergaard slides in and concedes a throw.
Well, that's the first opportunity he's had when he's facing the goal, and you're right, he should have hit that early. It's not on his favoured side. It was at an angle which always favoured the goalkeeper, but he was better off just having the shot, taking the gamble. The keeper might have spilled something.
Here's Alan, midway inside the Southampton half, into the final 10 minutes of the 90. As Southampton win another throw, and again you can hear the encouraging tones of Ralph Hasenhüttl. James Rodriguez just feeling the back of his left leg there. That will be a worrying sight for Carlo Ancelotti. Here is Ryan Bertrand for the Saints. 10 yards inside his own half. Now Oriol Romeu, the former Chelsea man. James Ward-Prowse happy to slow the game down to a walking pace. Here's Vestergaard in the blue boots. Finds his fellow centre-back Bednarek. Forming a decent partnership over the past 3 or 4 matches, those two. Keeping Jack Stevens out of the side. Here is Armstrong. He's got plenty of room on the edge of the area. Shoots, blocked by Mina. Loops up kindly for Rodriguez, who back heels it into the path of Bernard. He'd given it away to Ward-Prowse. That was sloppy. And this is Shea Adams now from the edge of the area. Into Danny Ings. Danny Ings might get a shot at goal here, but slows it down and finds Ward-Prowse instead. Now Armstrong inside that 18-yard box away to our right. This is Ward-Prowse once more. Sensible play this from Southampton, just to take the sting out of any late Everton fight back. They are 9 minutes away from arguably their best result of the season to date. Here is Ryan Bertrand in the left wing position. Looks like not got too much in the way of support. I think he's making that point, but he's let Anthony Gordon go past him as he protests. One back by Yannick Vestergaard over on the far touchline. You don't need the post-match interview. You can hear how impressed Ralph Hasenhüttl has been with his side, Paul.
Yeah, I just heard him that moment there, yeah, because it was right down in front of him. He's still just doing it all, and he's praising his players, and the players still showing great commitment. It's easy to stroll around when it's like this, because the game has been easy for Southampton, because they've done the hard work when it mattered, and they've earned the right to the game, for the game to be so comfortable for them. They just put Everton to the sword from the start, and Everton haven't recovered.
With Danny Ings, who's almost playing at left back at the moment, really summing up that work rate that Paul Parker was alluding to. Here is James Ward-Prowse on the edge of the centre circle. Really good game management from the home side at the moment. Shea Adams dropping the shoulder, trying to get away from Yerry Mina, who's come a long way out from the edge of his own penalty area. Southampton have it now with Romeu. Carlo Ancelotti, in contrast to Hasenhüttl, stands rooted to the spot, arms folded, fierce look on his face. Carries the look of a man who would rather be anywhere else but here.
I'm sure a lot of those players aren't looking forward to the coach journey home.
It's a long way, isn't it, back to Merseyside as well.
Yeah, with someone whose blood's going to be boiling.
Here is Stuart Armstrong, bringing the ball forward over halfway for Southampton. He's got 3 red shirts ahead of him. Carl Walker-Peters joining the attack. Looks for Redmond in the area, well cleared by Delph. Walker-Peters keeps it in though. And this is Ward-Prowse now. Back to Walker-Peters, just on the right corner of the area. Finds Romeu. Now Bertrand. Everybody in red wants a touch of the ball at the moment. Here is Romeu again, over the top, looking at Ward-Prowse, who's made a great run. His first touch was a poor one. Otherwise, he may well have been celebrating his second goal.
And he should have been, to be perfectly honest. It was a wonderful ball. He's gone for it the way he's gone to take it. He's gone to try and take it off the laces as well and bring it down off the front of his boot, which is a difficult skill, more so when you're running forward with a little bit of pace as well.
Here is Nathan Redmond for Southampton. Plays it out to Danny Ings, still looking for his first goal of the afternoon. But Saints 2-0 in front here. They have been since the 35th minute. 2 quick-fire goals from James Ward-Prowse and Shea Adams. And Luca Digne sent off for what the referee Kevin Friend felt was a stamp on the Achilles of Carl Walker-Peters in this second half, adding to the enormity of Everton's task. Nathan Teller looks like he's ready to go. Diallo, he's going to come on for Southampton. Next time there's a stop in play. Here is Redmond. Forward he goes to Stuart Armstrong. Looks to stand up the cross. It's blocked behind. It will be another corner for the home team. They're 4 for the game. Stuart Armstrong still full of running, but here's the player making way. It's going to be a St Mary's debut for Ibrahima Diallo. Had a little cameo in the game at Stamford Bridge last weekend, the £12 million signing from Brest over in France, the French under-21 international. Just to add some steel to that Southampton midfield for the final 5 minutes plus added on time. 2-0 they lead. Another good afternoon's work from Stuart Armstrong, Paul.
It certainly was. He has got a great work ethic, and you need people like that, a little bit unassuming, might not always, you're never going to be looked at as your man in the match 9 times out of 10, but if you're a football person, being a fan or being a player, you'd always appreciate players like him.
Armstrong replaced by Diallo, and James Ward-Prowse will take the corner for Southampton. He's looped it up in the air, looking for the head of Vestergaard. Delft did just enough to put him off, but here is Diallo keeping it alive and crossing dangerously into the area. Picked up by Ings. Again, he must have been tempted to shoot, finds Ward-Prowse instead, does shoot this time, Danny Ings, and it's well wide.
Yeah, he makes so much room for himself. He's got such quick feet as well. And another one who just doesn't stop working. You can see why so many people want him. And yeah, I saw he's mentioned going to Spurs at one. They were supposed to be showing interest in him. I think it would have been foolhardy for him to leave to go to Spurs because he didn't want to be a sub.
Well, they did make an inquiry, Tottenham. They did bring Southampton, of course, the transfer window and ask if it was worth their while making a bid. They were politely refused. Danny Ings, I mentioned earlier, very close now to agreeing a new long-term contract.
He's happy there. He had a poor time at Liverpool because of injuries. He's happy at Southampton. He's scoring goals. I wonder why. Sometimes when you've been and done things, why do you want to go and ruin it? Sometimes it's great to be somewhere where you're loved and appreciated, and he is that at Southampton. To go to Spurs meant that straight away everyone's going to say he's there when Harry Kane isn't fit or when it's a League Cup game and Harry Kane doesn't want to play. Why would any player want to go and do that?
That's the problem that Tottenham have had for a number of seasons, isn't it? Here's Anthony Gordon, high up the field for Everton. Managing to find Alan inside the centre circle. Only Calvert-Lewin ahead of the ball at the moment. This is Bernard. Thought about playing it into the penalty area. Comes out to the left and Delph instead.
Well, there's no point, is there? There's 6 players and only one Calvert-Lewin there. If he'd gone into there, it'd been a waste of time.
Calvert-Lewin flashing across into the penalty area. It wasn't a bad ball, but Everton outnumbered. As Paul articulated, here is Yerry Mina being forced back into his own half and all the way back to Pickford, the goalkeeper. No blame attached to Jordan Pickford for either of the goals, but he's almost giving it away to Danny Ings on the edge of the penalty area.
He can't help himself, Jordan Pickford. He's a rick at every single game. He's always going to make a mistake, give someone, I should say, an opportunity. He nearly done it to Danny Ings. He could have just done it straight away out to Michael Keane to his left-hand side, and he has an extra touch, and he nearly caused a problem and another embarrassment.
Daniel and Lundalu, an academy product, is coming on for Southampton, replacing Shay Adams. Another industrious performance from Shay Adams, crowned by the second goal for Southampton. And he gets a pat on the back from Ralph Hasenhüttl as he makes his way back into the stand behind that Southampton dugout. Here's Redmond driving towards the penalty area. He's got Diallo, made a good run to his right. Diallo tries to pull it back for Danny Ings, intercepted by Bernard and then cleared away by Alain, but only as far as Romeu. Here now is Kyle Walker-Peters. Less than a minute of the 90 remain. Ward-Prowse forward to Ings. It's cleared by Godfrey, and then Gordon was fouled by Ryan Bertrand high up the field. Everton have a free kick in their right wing position. He's done well since coming on, Anthony Gordon.
He's just been in the game. That's all he's done. He's put himself about, wanting the ball and showing some enthusiasm. They weren't getting that. Him and Fabian Delph have done that. They've been quite busy. OK, it hasn't changed a fortune for Everton, but I'm sure that in the mind of the manager, he'll be looking at those two and then make it worse so the other two have come off. They'll have to look at themselves, and I'm sure the manager will be telling them what they should be looking at about themselves, because they come along and played, and they played in a comfort zone.
Team news is in from our second commentary game. It's Wolves against Newcastle. One change for Wolves to the side that beat Leeds last week. Ruben Neves replacing João Moutinho. 4 alterations for Newcastle in the wake of that 4-1 hammering at home by Manchester United. Fabian Schär, Ryan Fraser, Jacob Murphy and Miguel Almiron all come in. Emil Kraft, John Joe Shelvey, Isaac Hayden and Joe Ellington are the players who make way. 5 added minutes indicated at the end of the game here at St Mary's. Southampton leading by 2-0. James Ward-Prowse and Shay Adams on the score sheet in the first half, and it's been a well-managed performance since then. Luca Digne sent off in this second half for a stamp on Kyle Walker-Peters, adding to Everton's despondency. Southampton just almost treating this game now like a training session and knocking the ball around amongst themselves. Must be very dispiriting, Paul, for the Everton players watching this.
It'll be absolutely painful for them, absolutely. As all players go through it, no one will ever go throughout their career without being in moments like this where you just want it to stop. You see that ball go up and you just want the minimum as possible. You want one. That's what you want. And when you see 5 go up as they have done, they don't want that.
I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin might get a yellow card here, really summing up his sense of frustration as the rain falls at St Mary's. It was a very late challenge from Dominic Calvert-Lewin on Yannick Vestergaard. Those two have enjoyed a bit of a running battle throughout, and I think he's just left one on him there, Paul.
See him run, and do you know what, to be perfectly honest, he never actually touched him on his right ankle. He's gone down. I thought he's more, he trod on his left toe, but he's gone across. He's actually gone across towards the ball, and I don't, not unless, honestly, my eyes are that bad, or the camera's playing tricks with me. I don't see any contact on that. He's just pulled his leg away as his legs come in. He's pulled his leg back like a reaction to his being kicked, and that's what's happened. It's caught the referee's eye, and he's seen the worst side of it.
Well, he didn't really complain, did he?
No. There might have been an intent to do something, but
well, we've got a stoppage here because Vestergaard is receiving treatment. It's all very late in the day anyway as far as Everton are concerned.
I'm sure Southampton just really, you don't really need that yourself. All you want to do is you just want the clock to run down. Oh, surely not.
Well, Shane Long is about to be introduced. Vestergaard coming back on. We've had all kinds of weather conditions now. It's been sunny for much of the afternoon with the rain absolutely teeming down. Those sodden shirts will be weighing much heavier on the Everton players than on their Southampton counterparts. It's been a chastening afternoon for Carlo Ancelotti's table toppers. Here is Redmond towards the Everton penalty area he goes and just plays it slightly behind Diallo, who's well up in support again, looking to impress on his St Mary's bow. Here is James Ward-Prowse to Oriol Romeu, who's going to shoot here from distance, and Pickford spills it and just about manages to gather under pressure from Lundalu at the second time of asking.
Yeah, and he's telling everyone to calm down. I think everyone is in a panic every time anybody has a shot against him. You just want him to take it clean, because he should have taken that one clean. It was that easy.
Yeah, it's been a difficult opening to the campaign for Jordan Pickford, despite the fact that Everton have done so well to this point. Lots of criticism and scrutiny aimed in his direction. 2 more goals conceded, but as I've already said, neither of them really can be attributed to the goalkeeper. You know, he's Godfrey down the right-hand side. It's, Everton in possession, but not really in an area where they can hurt Southampton. Mina in the right-back position launches it forward. Calvert-Lewin lets the ball just bounce off his chest, and it's now with Romeu. We've got 40 seconds remaining. I'm not sure Shane Long will even get on. Certainly won't get a touch of the ball. Might get his win bonus, though. Here is Kyle Walker-Peters for Southampton, down the right-hand side. Back to Jan Bednarek. I think Ralph Hasenhuttl will be as delighted with the clean sheet as the 2 goals they've scored at the other end. It's been a really solid defensive display from his team. A year to the day, remember, since they were hit for 9 by Leicester. And I know Southampton fans hate being reminded of that, but it's just an illustration of exactly how far they've come in those 12 months. So they've welcomed a team flying high at the top of the table, full of confidence, and really taught them a bit of a lesson. Here is Kyle Walker-Peters. Everton can't get a touch of the ball at the moment, and the 5 added minutes are up. I think Shane Long has been told to sit back down again.
He might have made his own mind up, and he didn't want to get wet, and then to end up not going on.
Here is Ward-Prowse down the right. Back in field for Diallo. Referee Kevin Friend has had one look at the watch already. There was a slight injury delay added on time for the challenge on Vestergaard, but another look at the watch, and there goes the full-time whistle. Everton's impressive start to the season is halted at St Mary's. A tactical masterclass from Ralph Hasenhüttl to get the better of Carlo Ancelotti. The points were sealed by 2 goals in 8 first half minutes. James Ward-Prowse breaking the deadlock on 27, and then Shay Adams, after good work from his strike partner Danny Ings, the sending off of Luca Digne for a reckless challenge on Kyle Walker-Peters in the referee's eyes, only added to Everton's despair. They missed the chance to go 3 points clear of Liverpool. It's back-to-back home wins for the first time in virtually a year for Southampton. It finishes here, Southampton 2, Everton 0. Here's Ward-Prowse into the area, and Southampton do take the lead. James Ward-Prowse, on his 200th start for the club, has rifled right-footed beyond his England teammate Jordan Pickford.
It was awful defending really by Everton. They've allowed Ward-Prowse to actually wander up and collect the throw in. He plays it over an Everton player's head, and then he just makes ball goes into Ings, who plays a 1-2 with him, and then he just shoots across the front of Jordan Pickford. It was far too easy really the way he broke through that back four. Pickford gets a slight touch, but that only helps it to go hit the side netting.
Here's Danny Ings, who continues to be a menace for the Everton defence. That's a lovely ball in. Shay Adams with a chance to double the lead here, and he does so. And that front two that Paul Parker was praising combined to double Southampton's advantage. Shay Adams, with his second goal of the season, makes it Southampton 2, Everton 0.
There's 2 of them up against one. Ben Godfrey has made a recovery one, but he hasn't gone to actually towards the ball, and that allows Danny Ings to get to the byline and put a lovely ball in. He just stood the ball up from the byline, and I'm looking there and I'm trying to see who it was, number 10, Sigurdsson, who's just, but he doesn't get anywhere near it. It goes over the top of his head, it falls to Che Evans, controls it well and just strikes across it, and the crossing, it just bobbles just underneath Jordan Pickford.
So Southampton 2, Everton 0 was how it finished. Southampton beating the team starting the day top of the Premier League table for the first time in only 12 matches actually, since a 1-0 victory at Anfield. 12 matches since 2013 when they beat Liverpool at Anfield. So an impressive feather in the cap of Ralph Hasenhüttl. We'll get Paul Parker's final assessment in just a moment. But first of all, let's get the confirmed team news from our second commentary. It comes from Molineux, where Wolves are taking on Newcastle. Tim Long will be your commentator.
No European distractions for Wolves, so they make just one change from their 1-0 win at Leeds last week. Ruben Neves replaces João Moutinho in midfield. Newcastle, poor in defeat to Manchester United, make 4 changes from that 4-1 home defeat. Shelvey and Hayden both injured. Kraft and Joey Linton dropped to the bench. It's unclear yet whether they'll try to match Wolves' 3 at the back as Fabian Schär returns to the side. Ryan Fraser makes his first start for the club. Jacob Murphy his first of the season, while Miguel Almiron comes in as well.
Yeah, Tim will be joined by Kevin Watson, commentary of that game to come very shortly indeed. Paul Parker, just sum up what we've seen at St Mary's. Was it just a bad day for Everton? Was Southampton really good, or was it somewhere in between?
I think I have to come out and, to be fair, and to Southampton and say they were really good. They never let Everton in. I think Everton come down and in certain ways believed it was going to happen, and football doesn't work like that. You have to make things happen. Everton didn't try and do that, and Southampton just reacted better off of that and really won the game. They cantered throughout that game, had a little bit of sweat to get themselves into a 2-0, get that 2-0 cushion, and then they just, everything they'd done from there was simple and easy because Everton made it easy for them.
Southampton up to the giddy heights of 5th place in the Premier League table. Everton stay top, but only on goal difference now, level on points with Liverpool. Wolves against Newcastle.